Hi, Alan Featherby from Italian Wine Importers, and I have much pleasure today in introducing Giorgio De Maria from 121 BC, Cantina and Enoteca in Surrey Hills. Can you give a little bit of a background on your history, where you came from, and how you build up a knowledge of wines?
Yeah, absolutely. So, well, my first meeting with the wine, when I was very, very young, you know, when my dad used to mix it with the water. And for me, it's always been a tradition to drink a glass of wine with my meal. It's something, you know, and you know that as well, because you go very often to Italy, so it's very much that way, you know. We drink wine with our food. It's, to me, it's become something that goes behind the bottle of wine itself, you know. So I see the bottle of wine now as not just as a drink, but as an incredible cultural heritage. So practices that are, you know, people are doing by different generations, and I like to support artisan and small producer, people that work sustainably without using chemicals, because they're the only one that can preserve these for the future. So
absolutely, and what I love about Giorgio, and you can tell by what he just said then, is his passion. And I must say, you come in here, and this is the Cantina part of 121 BC, and the wines you will find here, a lot of them you'll not find anywhere else. They are amazing wines. Giorgio talks about sustainability, organic farming techniques that people use, and truly, Giorgio, when I come here, I get excited about what you're all about, and I think you know that we have a similar attitude.
Absolutely.
And the good thing about coming to 121 BC, you can buy wine here, you can take it into the Enoteca, you can have it in there, or you can take it away, and it's just a fabulous place to experience wine. Tell us a little bit about 121 BC, because the name intrigues me for a start.
Yeah, well, first of all, the name is has a sort of a double meaning. So the main meaning obviously is referring to a date. So it's referring to the 121, so 121 before Christ, which is probably, as we know, the first documentation of a vintage in history of wine. So that was in a Roman document talking about this wine from Campania, so from around this area here, near what today is known as Falerno del Massico DOC. So it was a Falernian wine, was most probably a sweet wine.
We're now in the Enoteca part of 121 BC, and this is where you can have some fabulous Italian wines with what I think is a really exceptional and yet simple Italian menu on food, so the matches are quite interesting. You can see behind us we've got a list of, and I think this is wines by the glass.
Yes,
so from all over Italy we can see Calabria, Sardinia, Abruzzo, Campania, Piemonte, and this is probably the most extensive wine by the glass list I've ever seen in Australia. So Giorgio, can you tell me a little bit about that? How often do you change it? What do you look for when you put new wines up?
Yeah, absolutely. So the idea is to represent all Italy. So the idea is again to come here and having, as we were saying before, a little bit more of a cultural experience. So to be able to do a little virtual trip to Italy by, you know, tasting different glasses of wines, and the choices of wine is always towards wine with a lot of elements of distinction, so that representing the area where they're from, and they are very varietal as well. And that's something to do as well, again, with the type of wine we're working with. So small artisan producer, sustainable winemaking, which includes the use of indigenous yeast, which is what, to me, that's where for me, the sense of place that the distinction of a wine is coming from. So as you can see, we've got one wine for each region of Italy by the glass. This list is changing once a month, so the idea is to keep it very interesting. So for example, this month Puglia is a red, next month most probably will be a white or a rosé, and so we turn it around. So it's 20 wine by the glass, each one to represent each region, and they sort of divided between white, sparkling, rosé, and red.
Now I also know you do wine dinners, you do wine tastings. Can you tell us a little bit about those?
Yeah, absolutely. So the other idea is also, obviously, you can't present 400 unknown wines from all over Italy and not supporting these with a little bit of education. So Italy, as you know, got so many different grape varieties, like we're talking about hundreds and hundreds of different grape varieties. But the idea of the wine tasting that we generally host on Saturday afternoon is a little bit of cooperation with our supplier, and it's always based on local indigenous varieties from Italy, and so we give the possibility to people to try all these wines and explain them. But we also do Monday night dinner, in which we generally we go probably a little bit more deep, and we play a little bit with the food as well. So for example, we had at the beginning we did a few wine dinners. One all about Mount Etna region, for example, which is it's quite an extensive. Was quite an extensive night, and a lot of people found it was quite impossible to host a dinner just with one, just Mount Etna, but you actually can eat, because we got a very extensive selection. We did a night about Barolo, for example, about Barbaresco. Just recently, we did a night with soil and wine, so we were trying to understand if the influences of the soil, so in terms of minerality, into the wines, and the next one that will be in a couple of weeks. We're trying to explore the aging process in wine by showing a young wine beside an older wine, same grapes, same producer, same label.
Now, Giorgio, we have to wrap up now, but I think for anyone wanting to come to 121 BC and not just wanting really wonderful Italian wines that probably you won't see anywhere else, how do they find you?
On our website, which is 121 BC, so 121 in numbers, bc.com.au.
And the address here?
The address is room 4, 50 Hall Street in Surrey Hills.
Giorgio, Carolina and I love what you're doing. We love this Enoteca, so salute.
Thank you so much.